friends. We're back. I hope everybody's all right. Before we begin, let me tell you what my friends at Infinitude Fight are doing. Infinitude Fight is an established brand with a unique opportunity for professional boxers or any other combat sport athlete to get their own custom designed boxing or other fight gear, including boxing gloves, boxing head guards, boxing pads, boxing groin guards, BJJ gis, etc. You can personalize and create your own gloves and fight gear. You can design by choosing colors, materials, patterns, sizes, and not only this, you can also add your logo, any graphic, or your name, initials, text, and embroidery, patch, or simple. Your unique personalized design that represents you and your brand can be quickly sent for order right from their website. These people are definitely changing the game because sometimes good just doesn't cut it. For some people, sky is the limit when they think about combat training and pushing themselves to do even better. Infinitude Fighting understands that determination for excellence and deliver just that. These people have a tool called the Customizer. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to go to infinitudefight.com/customize. And you're going to start customizing all your gear. You're going to put your own logo or you're going to design it however you want. You can upload logos or choose from their stock logos, whatever you want to do. You can design any equipment that you want by just a small price. And on top of that, they're giving our fans at Angels Combat World, they're giving $5 off. So you just go and you just use the code $5 Angels Fans. $5 Angels Fans to get $5 off your customized gear. We're done? Yeah, we're done with the ads for now. We only have them for now. They're cool. They're cool people. They're awesome. Infinitude Fight is a great brand, without a doubt. Please go to infinitudefight.com/customize and start customizing. And not only that, not only does their gear look nice, it's just high level. It's awesome. The best materials and the best look for you. This episode was very, very interesting because I spoke to a genius, apparently. She is Angela Whitley. And Angela Whitley, of course, she is a Muay Thai fighter. She's fought MMA too. But the thick of her career and her favorite sport is Muay Thai. Angela Whitley is amazing. Not only is she a beast, a savage, she fought the greatest woman Muay Thai practitioner when she only had 2 years into Muay Thai training. So she picked up the sport in early 2014, February 2014, and she fought the best of the best, Jorina Bars, in September 2016. So in a little over 2 years, she went from not even knowing what a leg kick was to fighting the best woman that was around at her weight. And you know what? The story behind that is crazy. What happened to her before the fight, what the commission told her, is crazy. We also talked a little bit about Puerto Rico, because that's where she's living right now, and how hard it was for her at first to adapt to Puerto Rico and how much she likes it right now, and the differences between where she's lived and where she lives now. I was totally jealous because she's enjoying the weather over there, and I'm freaking in Dallas, 30-degree weather right now. Please stay tuned and welcome my guest, the one, the only, the woman that has lived pretty much everywhere, and she settled for now in Puerto Rico because she's very smart. She is Angela Whitley. Angels Combat World. Perfect.
You want to see the ocean real quick? I can show you.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right.
I miss it. I miss it so much.
Nice because sometimes right now it's the season for the humpback whales. So
You've seen them?
I can see them sometimes when they're migrating. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. I moved right after the hurricane.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where were you living?
I lived in San Juan in a little borough called Coupé Alto.
I know Coupé.
Yeah. So
I train in Coupé actually.
You did?
I do. Well, I train there Monday and Wednesday and Fridays now with one of my old teammates. He got our old team together because the gym that we were training at here, after the hurricane, that coach left.
Thunder?
To do his thing. Yeah, Thunder.
No way.
You know him?
I know Ismael. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Ismael. Yeah, well, that's who has the gym in Coupé now. It's at Sparta, and we train on the second floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know Ismael because I used to be a server at a restaurant that he used to sing at, and he used to hang out over there too. And
Okay.
Yeah, I remember when I used to do a little bit of kickboxing when I was younger. We would talk about fighting the whole shift that was there.
Yeah, well, he's gotten a lot of our old teammates together, and Monday and Wednesdays and Fridays we train out there in Coupé. So
Wow.
cool.
All right. Let's start with the beginning. Where were you born and where were you raised?
Okay. So, all right, that's a long story.
Yeah, please do.
Well, I was born in Germany, in Hamburg. My mother's German. My father's from the States. He's African American. So I grew up a little bit in Germany, and then we moved to the States, to Maryland. Then we moved back to Germany, and then we moved to Texas, where my father retired. And in Texas, that's where I did high school, and I went to college at Texas A&M University. When I got my degree, I left after that. So I kind of grew up in Germany and in the States.
Okay. How long did you live in Texas, you said?
Well, I lived in Texas from high school, so what's that, like 9th grade, until 2007. So I want to say 1999-ish to 2007. I don't know. I'm really bad with remembering the year, just because I've lived in so many different places. So that's how long I was in Texas. After I got my degree, I moved. I moved to Rhode Island. I moved to Massachusetts. I moved to Australia, then Dubai, and back to Massachusetts, and then Puerto Rico. And this has been my last stop since, I want to say, 2013. Wow. So.
Perfect. Wow, you've been everywhere, girl.
Yeah, my friends call me a Rolling Stone.
You are, for sure. So, you are. What was your introduction to combat sports?
Well, I'd have to say, when I was living in Dubai, I took a trip to Thailand for my birthday, just to watch Muay Thai, because, I'd never really seen it. And that just kind of really sparked it for me. I just did like a little backpacking trip for about a week. I went to Lumpini Stadium, with the original one, before they rebuilt it. And I sat ringside, and it was like the best time of my life. I was there from around 6 p.m. until like 2 in the morning. I was just sat there and watched every single fight, from the little kids to the adults. Like, it was awesome. And I just thought to myself, I have to try this sport. And when I moved to Puerto Rico is when I actually first got into it. When I was younger, I don't know if you want to consider wrestling a martial arts, but when I was younger, I used to wrestle. So I wrestled in high school, and I guess that would be my first real introduction to it. But as far as striking goes, it would be when I went to Bangkok. I think that was about in 2009 or 2010.
Wow.
More or less.
That is so nice. How did it feel being at the stadium that is so legendary because they rebuilt it, right, and then they did everything else. But for us combat nerds to be ringside where one of the most dominant martial arts gets developed, how did that feel?
It was amazing, just because there was a lot going on, not just the fights, but the crowd. I didn't really understand what was going on, and then someone explained it to me. But there's a lot of betting that takes place, and that's pretty much, the crowd is going crazy, and everyone's betting. The corners are also looking to the crowd and betting, with the crowd, and then they'll tell the fighters what they need to do. So it was just the whole. I've never been exposed to anything like that. I mean, I've seen like boxing fights or whatever, but nothing like Muay Thai, and it was amazing. I definitely wish I could go back. Eventually, I will.
You will?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
When I'm finished with my degree, I'm almost done. So when I'm finished with school, I'll do it.
Okay. How much longer?
I'm in my final semester of coursework, so I'm working on my PhD. So after I finish this last semester of coursework, I just have to finish my thesis, my dissertation, and I have another year after that. So I'm anticipating graduating by May 2020. Fingers crossed.
Wow! Yes, fingers crossed. What's your major?
So I'm majoring in ciencias.
Yes. Yes.
I'm majoring in environmental sciences at the University of Puerto Rico.
Wow.
And my focus, so my background is in marine biology. That's what I got my bachelor's in at Texas A&M University. But my focus here will be on coral reefs and coastal resiliency.
Wow, we need more of you.
I'm trying. Well, I'll see what I can accomplish once I get the degree.
Definitely,
well,
we need more like you because it's a very delicate ecosystem that a lot of people don't understand how damaging we are.
Definitely. Actually, I was here for Hurricane Maria, and we went out to the reefs where I'm doing my research. We went out there about 2 months after. And it was just kind of heartbreaking to see the level of destruction that the hurricane caused to the reef. But I mean, that's what they're there for. They act as a first line of defense against storms that would otherwise destroy the land. But obviously, against a hurricane, a category 4 or 5 hurricane, they got pretty smashed.
It's too much.
And on top of all the other things that are going on with the environment, ocean acidification and temperature rises in the ocean. All of those things have effects on coral reefs, and they weaken them. So not to get into all of that nerdy stuff.
No, hey,
that's not the focus of it.
No, it is. Hey, you forget that. The focus of this episode is Angela Whitley, so you can do whatever you want. It's all good.
Thank you.
So we'll get back to that point before we close for sure, because I want to spend a huge chunk of the closing part on your focus and your studies and your medical background for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget. Okay, when did you start training Muay Thai?
Where? Well, I started training before the hurricane. There was a gym here called Thunder, and it was ran by David Cummings, and that's where I started training. That was back in, I want to say 2013 or 14. And then Hurricane Maria happened 2017, September 20th.
Yes.
I remember the date.
Me too.
And he left. He went to the States, and he just didn't come back. So that's where I started. But right now, my team, when I have a fight, I go to the States to train. I go to Texas. Because my parents, they still live in Texas. They live in Killeen. And right after the hurricane, I was able to get off the island 3 weeks after the hurricane. That was a long story on how I got off the island, but I did. And I went to see my parents just to, show face and let them know I was okay and alive. And I got in touch with Chadwick Turner from Strike Kings. And, I let him know, hey, I don't have a gym to train at anymore. I was wondering if you wouldn't mind helping me because I have this and this event coming up, and I don't have a place to train, or I don't have any guidance. And he said, yeah. So my second home is in Killeen. Well, actually, the gym is in Copper's Cove, which is right next to Killeen. And it's called Strike Kings, and they've got a really good program there. So yeah, so those are my homies. That's my team.
Good. Do you recall your the couple of amateur fights you had? How many amateur fights did you have before turning pro?
Not as many as I would have liked. Yeah. I had about, I want to say, 10 or so amateur fights, and that's also including MMA because I did some MMA as well. Yes. I've only had 2 MMA fights. Like I said, my background is wrestling, so it was easy for me to pick up the jiu-jitsu and whatnot. And I think when I started, I really wanted to pursue MMA, but then I just got more focused on Muay Thai, and it works better for me just because, I'm getting a little bit older. I have had some knee issues since wrestling that comes along with the territory. I've had 2 knee surgeries, and just the rolling is not as fluid as it used to be for me. So stand up, I have no problem. So we decided to just go ahead and excel in that.
How many fights do you really have? Because it's a little hard to pick up the record, even though there's a lot of fights online. How many fights do you really have? Pro fights?
Pro fights from turning pro right now. My record is 5-2. Since being pro, I have 5 wins and 2 losses.
Okay. Now I want to focus on this point, just to showcase how much of a beast you are. You started training Muay Thai at late 2013 or early 2014?
Yes. February 2014.
February 2014.
Yeah, I don't know why I remember that date.
And you fought Jorina Bars 2 years later.
Yeah, I guess I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
That was only my second pro fight.
Well, yeah, right. Was it?
I know for the promotion, they said my record, I think, was higher than it was, but I think they took a combination of all my fights at that time, from amateur to pro, and I had only had 1 pro fight at that time. It was against Christiana Stancu on Super Combat for the WKN lightweight world title. That was actually here in Puerto Rico.
Yes, I watched it.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, and then after that, it was like, okay, David Cummings, who was my coach at the time, he was like, okay, you're fighting Jorina Bars next. And I was like, okay, all right.
Of course, a very difficult matchup for anybody. And because of her talent, and not only her talent, but how long she's been fighting. She was a veteran already. You were in your second fight. And
exactly.
Yeah, and the way you looked in that fight, of course, you didn't come out with a win, but
I look bloody as hell. I look like my face looked like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in that fight.
Yeah. But to your credit, and how much of a beast you are, you look 10 times better than Cyborg.
Well, you know what? I'll say that's because I have a lot of heart. Not that Cyborg doesn't, but I'll be one thing I had, not only like the experience like against me in that fight. At that time, I was legally blind. I always wore contacts, and I never had a problem fighting with contacts. But that commission said during the weigh-ins, well, actually, it was a week before the commission actually told me the day of the weigh-ins, but the promotion told me a week before the weigh-ins that I wouldn't be allowed to wear my contacts, and that was news to me. And I was like, okay, well, I could have at least done the training camp without them just to get the feel. So I had to fight that fight legally blind. I've had corrective eye surgery since then. Like right after that fight, because my brother came to watch, and my brother, he's in the Air Force, and the military paid for his corrective eye surgery. And he just said to me, this was as we were in the hospital getting stitched up right after that fight. He was like, why don't you just get PRK or LASIK? And I was just like, well, I ain't got no PRK or LASIK money. And he was like, I'll pay for it. And I was like, bet. All right, let's do it. So then a month later, I got it done. And so I don't have to worry about the whole, needing contacts. When I wake up, I can see, I'm happy I got it done. It does have its drawbacks, but just mostly with lighting, especially at night. Sometimes I get lights bother me. But other than that, I'm happy I got it done, so I don't have to worry about, commissions not allowing the use of contact lenses and whatnot. So yeah. So anyways, despite all that, all I remember from that fight was get close enough to hit her, get close enough to see her. Just keep going for it, and that's what I kept telling myself. And yeah, that's why it went the way it went. I mean, well, not the only reason why it went the way it went, but that's why I looked the way I looked. I was just trying to go forward and trying to score.
Okay, let me see if I understand this correctly. You fought Jarina Bars, and you were still through the whole fight up until the last bell. You were coming at her. You were following her while you were
following was the mistake. Yeah.
While you were blind.
Legally blind. I mean, I could just see blurs. I couldn't really make out the distance. I couldn't really tell distance. That's why a lot of my strikes were missing completely, or I was just, not able to get within the range I needed to get to land properly. So yeah, but I could just kind of see blurs. I remember I could hear my brother's voice in the audience, but I had no idea where he was sitting. I couldn't even see my corner. I couldn't see anything. It was just a blur. Everything was a blur. And everything she threw at me, I couldn't see it coming. And it's not like she's super fast. I just couldn't see it until it was already smashing me in the face. And I was like, oh, okay, I think that was a knee.
Oh my gosh. You are a gangster.
I don't know about that. I mean, I took a lot of damage in that fight. But you know what? It's an experience.
Yeah, that's the point I want to touch on. How much did you learn after that fight? Or in that fight?
Well, I had a lot of mixed feelings after that fight, to be honest. One, I was just down because, I didn't win. It was my first loss. And just, I had a lot of, I'll be honest, I had a lot of animosity built up inside, not towards Jarina, but just towards my coach and the way the camp went. I think things could have went a little bit better, and just knowing the rules ahead of time, and just a lot of things, which that's all that, but I don't feel like I learned as much as I would have liked to during that fight, just because all I could think about was just get close, get close, get close. I will say that my mistake was following instead of cutting off, but again, if I couldn't really gauge anything, it was just a big blur. Yes. Now I'm much better since I've been training with my current coach, Chadwick Turner. He's been so great. He spent so much time, and I've only been training with him since right after the hurricane, so about a year, a little bit over a year now, and that's when I go to Texas. He spends so much time helping me and just correcting little things, and a big thing he's worked with me on is my footwork and angles, because in Muay Thai you don't see a lot of that. Nope. And if I could have fought her having him and everything that he's taught me in this short amount of time, then I feel like I would have done a little bit better, So yeah. No question.
Yes, you did. Don't worry.
No worries.
What was the plan after that fight? What were you looking at? What were you trying to maybe negotiate with some other company? What was the plan?
Well, after that fight, so that was September 2016. I had the eye surgery October, and then I needed at least 3 months to heal up from that. And I think we were hoping to get on Lion Fight again, another fight. I honestly can't remember, because then 2017 started, and that's when it was just a really, really bad year for me, for a lot of people here. And it was just, there was a lot going on for me at that time, especially starting the semester in January. We had a huelga, a massive student strike.
Yeah.
PR shut down, and that was kind of stressful for me because it's like, well, I get paid to go to school. My PhD it's all taken, and that grant pays me to go to school. And I'm like, if the school's not open, how do I get paid? And everything was just going. It was going really, really bad. The year started out bad. Oh, that's another thing. That's what happened. I had my second knee surgery right at the beginning of. That's what it was before the huelga started. So we didn't have anything lined up for a while. And I think we were hoping to get a fight in June with Lion Fight with a girl by the name of Rose Amarim from Brazil, and we would fight for a title, but the 140-pound title, which they were just going to make that title for us to fight for.
Yeah.
And so I tried to push through my recovery and get ready. Then the huelga happened. And then the fight got postponed a few times, and they said, okay, how about September? And then the hurricane happened. And so that's after that fight with Jarena, there was really nothing set in stone for me. And then after the hurricane, there was no more me and Thunder. So I honestly didn't think I was going to ever fight again after that hurricane happened, and I didn't think I was going to continue with the school because things were just so, well, you were here, things were just messed up. Everything was just destroyed.
Yeah.
So, there was nothing lined up. But then in December, I got contacted by Lion Fight again. They kept in touch with me, Scott Kent, just to make sure I was okay after the hurricane. And they said, hey, we still want to get you on the show. And that title fight with the Brazilian chick was set in stone for this past July of last year. And it got canceled the week of because there was something wrong with her medicals. So it's just been kind of an uphill battle to try to get on that card. But in the meantime, I did fight. I've been fighting on the U.S. national team, the Muay Thai national team, the USMF. I fought in the World Championships in Cancun. That was last May. And then I fought just this past December at the Pan American Championships.
Yeah, talk to me about that. How was it? How was the whole competition? How did you do?
Well, at the Pan American Championships in December, I fought 3 times against Argentina, Peru, and in the finals against Canada, and I won gold. When I fought in last May, it was held in Cancun, the World Championships. I got bronze. I was fighting at 67 kilos, so 147.7 pounds. And then just recently at Pan Am's, I fought at 63.5 kilos, so 139.9 pounds, which I think is a better weight class for me. So it was a great experience. I really enjoyed that, all the countries that were there. You fight each other, but then afterwards it's just like, oh, you talk to them, where are you from, where do you train, and you really get to network. And it's like, hey, if you ever come to Sweden, you can come train with me here. Or, you just meet so many cool people, and that's what I really like about those events. Perfect. And you get a lot of back to back, so that's always fun.
Yes, that is. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to Muay Thai, a lot of people are MMA fans, but the casual MMA fan doesn't really love the ground game. They start booing, etc., etc. And boxing has their set fan base. There's a middle ground that would be kickboxing or Muay Thai. Why isn't kickboxing or Muay Thai, what in your eyes, why isn't it bigger than what it is right now?
Bigger as far as here, like in Puerto Rico or in the States, this side of the world?
Puerto Rico and the States.
Well, definitely in Puerto Rico, just not enough exposure. I think, when people think kickboxing, they think of like the point fighting. That's the type of kickboxing they do here. I'm the only female Muay Thai fighter on the island, professional, so that's why I have to go to the States a lot. In the States, I feel like it is up and coming. There's a lot. There's a big push for it. As far as the government being on board to support the national teams, that's going to take a little bit of time. I think once it's already been recognized for an Olympic sport, but once it's actually inducted, I think it'll gain more support. There's definitely a push for it. On the other side of the world, there's no problem. Like, boxing is big, Muay Thai is big, much bigger. I just think, when people actually see it, they're just like, it kind of goes either way. They're either amazed by it because they like to see people get smashed, and that's what it is. It's just like, you go for it. Or, my experience, I come across a lot of people who are just like, I can't watch fighting. What? Elbows? Why do you do that? What about your face? I get that reaction a lot. So, I don't know. As far as Puerto Rico as well, people like boxing here. Even MMA is not that big.
Yeah.
It's all about boxing.
Yeah.
But I think things will change. Puerto Rico now, I believe now, just this year, officially they have a federation for Muay Thai. Paul Rossi is the president of that. Juan Delgado is the vice president. And they're doing some big things. They're really trying to help the island. They just had Chris Romulo from New York down here giving a seminar. Topic as well was down here giving a seminar. They've got a lot of things lined up. They're trying to do more events on the island to expose everyone to Muay Thai and to kickboxing, because they do modify the rules sometimes, because some people here, they're still like, I don't know if I want to do Muay Thai all the way. I don't know about the clinching stuff. Can we just, kick and punch? So they'll modify the rules a little bit for some of the competitions that they have here. But I'm looking forward to seeing it grow, and I really, really do hope it does.
Me too. Because I lean a little bit more towards Muay Thai than kickboxing. I don't know. I appreciate the elbows, I guess.
You gotta love the elbows.
You have to love it. And especially those Thai guys. Oh my gosh. They have some spinning elbows that will just slice you in a second.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it is a beautiful sport. Do you recall the first time you ever got leg kicked?
Yes, actually I do. It was in practice, and it was by this big muscle guy named Lou. I can't remember his name, but it was here in Puerto Rico. He kicked me in my leg so good, and that thing, it just, the IT event, my leg was messed up.
Yes.
Like, sit down, stand up, use the bathroom, walk. Oh, it was horrible for like a good week.
Oh
yeah, I didn't like that too much. Then I learned to start checking kicks or getting out of the way.
Exactly. They suck so much.
They do. I'm much better about getting kicked in the leg now. I think I've conditioned them.
It should be implemented as like capital punishment for people, for murderers or something.
I will say I've never just been like full on kicked though, like how these Thais be kicking folks in fights. I've never been kicked like that. Thank God. Or maybe I have in a fight, but the adrenaline's so high, right. You just at that moment you don't realize it.
Yeah, you won't feel it, but after, when you cool down, for sure. You're gonna feel it.
I think if a Thai kicked me, I would definitely feel it in the fight, no matter how high my adrenaline was.
Yeah, they're made out of wood. What's your plan right now as far as fighting? Do you have anything lined up right now?
At the moment, I don't have anything set in stone. Everyone, like the promoters that my coach is dealing with, they know that I'm working on my PhD, and that within these few months, the beginning of the semester, I'm just kind of tied up, and it's just, like I said, it's my last semester of actually taking courses, and then when I work on my thesis, I can do that anywhere, because it's just a bunch of writing and analyzing data. It's just a bunch of boring stuff. So for the moment, I don't have anything lined up. I wouldn't be opposed to fighting on the national team again, because I know that they have the World Championships coming up in Bangkok this year in July. So if they ask me, I'll be on board for that. But other than that, I've got my hands tied until early May, just with school. So.
Yeah, it takes.
But I do plan on being active. Like after May, I plan on just hitting the ground running.
Yes.
It sucks not being able to fight for these. It's just a short amount of time, but I see all my friends that I've made on the national team and people I know. I see all of them getting fights, and I'm just like, I want to be there, but I'm stuck in this classroom.
Oh no! But hey, just till May. Just till May.
Good.
Do you follow a lot of, besides your studies? Do you still follow a lot of combat sports? Do you watch a lot of combat sports?
I do. I don't have television. I haven't had television since 2007 when I moved to Australia. But I mean, the good thing is I do have the internet. So I do, like, when my teammates are fighting in Texas, my teammates in Texas, when they're fighting, I'll watch it because usually it's streamed. Two of them just fought this past weekend and they won.
Good.
But yeah, I do. I'll be honest, I'm not an avid combat sports follower. Mm-hmm. Like, there's no specific people I follow, but if there are some fights on and I'm interested in watching, I'll definitely watch. I do try to catch all the Muay Thai fights that do happen in the States that are streamed, like Triumphant, even like Lion Fight, just whatever show, I'll try to watch it. Friday Night Fights in New York, so definitely try to catch those. Oh, and One Championship, because they stream live, and
right.
We just... Jenna Todd just fought on that a couple of weekends ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 weekends ago. She fought Stamp Fairtex for the women's title, I think atom weight. She didn't win, but it was a hell of a fight. Mm-hmm. So I definitely, I watch it.
Yeah, let's stay on one championship because they're revolutionizing the game, actually. Are you aware of how they're doing their weight divisions and their weight cuts?
I'm not.
Okay, so... this is I'm dumbing it down for sure. It's way more complicated, but pretty much what they do is they weigh you and test you at the beginning of the year. Hopefully this is 100% correct. I don't want to get sued. They weigh you and they test you at the beginning of the year, and pretty much you'll be fighting at your walk around weight, not the weight that you cut, not the division that you cut to. Just so everybody fights hydrated, and the risk of brain injury is way less.
Oh, wow. I like that. I like that idea. And I like that just because I've always fought at my walk-around weight. So I've always, up until I fought Jarena, I fought 145, 147, and that's my walk-around weight. But I never taking into account when you're doing the training camps and whatnot, you naturally drop the weight lower than that, just because you're toning up and you're getting ready for the fight. So I've always ended up being the smaller fighter, but I think that's a good idea. I like that idea just because it's something I've always done anyway. So
yeah, you prefer because it's better. You fight healthy, your brain isn't dehydrated, you probably don't end up in a wheelchair the rest of your life.
Yeah, and it helps the promotion too because, in case someone gets sick or something from a weight cut, and then they're out of a fight. So that's cool. That's interesting. I didn't know that they did it like that.
Yeah, they do. That's pretty much one of the biggest problems that we have in the combat sports world. Pretty much is weight cuts and problems with weight cuts. The other issue would be judging. Right?
Yeah, the inconsistency in the judging.
It is pretty inconsistent. What do you feel would be the best answer? Either get old retired fighters and trainers to become judges, or have the judges that are sitting there judging try to complete some sort of combat sports training so they actually know what they're looking at.
I think both actually are good ideas because, someone who's done it would know, I think they're both good ideas, honestly. But then, how many retired fighters do you have that can judge every single event or even want to? Mm-hmm. So people, the ones who are judging, obviously, that's their profession. They need to go through the proper training. I think also actually doing the sport. That would help. Maybe they don't have to fight, but
spar.
Yeah. That's true.
Maybe that makes sense.
Yeah, because I agree. It makes sense because sometimes people's livelihoods are on the line. The fighters, you never know. Mm-hmm. And if you have a bad judge or a few bad judges, you might just cost them some money that they really needed for their family or whatever. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, it is. What? You're good on time?
Yeah, I'm good on time. My classes are done for today. I just have studying to do,
Okay.
as usual.
Perfect. Let's just tell me about the moment that you 100% felt that you fell in love with Muay Thai.
The moment, wow. Well, I would say within a week of just doing it. When I first started, it was difficult, but by the end of that first week, it just became an addiction because I would want to go morning and night, because that's the times that the gym was open, and it got to the point where it was like if I didn't go, I felt bad, like I was cheating myself, you know. So it didn't take me long to fall in love with Muay Thai. Because and also just I love learning, and I felt like I was learning every day, learning something new, and just getting better, or like I said, getting better at what I already learned, just improving. And there's so much room to improve in Muay Thai and learn, you know, especially for me.
Yeah, it is. It seems people that watch it on TV, it can seem like it's a relatively simple martial art, but it's not. There's
No,
so many things that you don't even see that the fighters are thinking and reacting to,
yeah, definitely.
which is why of all the sports in the world, I really appreciate combat sports and respect it so much in the fighters and beasts like you that just
Thanks. Like I said, I have a lot of heart. I still have so much I need to learn and improve and work on. But I will say my biggest strength is my heart. And I attribute that to my wrestling background. There's something about being a wrestler that it's unless you're a wrestler, it's hard to explain. They have just such a work ethic about them and dedication, and that's still within me. I don't wrestle anymore. I haven't for years,
mm-hmm.
but it's still within me, that character. So that's my biggest strength is my heart, and everything else is a work in progress.
Let's dive into your medical aspect and your medical studies. What are you looking to do when you're done? What are you looking to do in the future?
Oh, so my studies are in environmental sciences. I'm not in the medical field. I'm in the environmental field. You know what? I really don't know. I'm kind of first world problems. I'm working on this PhD, which I know will help me in the long run. And I'm doing it because I know I can't fight forever. But at the same time, my heart is pulling me to the ring because I just really want to fight while I can. You know, like I said, I'm getting older. And yeah, granted, I still have some years left in me, but I needed a backup plan for what am I going to do? I can't really do much with just a bachelor's in marine biology. Granted, it did help me travel the world and work in different places, but what can I do when I'm done fighting? And that's why I'm getting this PhD. And honestly, I really haven't sat down with my professor, my mentor, to discuss possible opportunities, possible options. I really don't know. I know I do want to make a difference. And I'm also a scuba diving instructor. I love diving, and I just love being out there, especially in the reefs. Unfortunately, the reefs don't look like the way they used to. They don't look the way they used to not even 10 years ago. Unfortunately, they're going to continue degrading in a lot of places. But if I can do anything to help mitigate that, then I would like to. I don't know what that chance would be just because it's such a global disaster, but I really don't know. I still have to speak with my professor, the one who's provided me this opportunity to discuss possible options.
Of the whole time that you've studied and all that you've learned up until now, if you can maybe condense it, what are the damages that we as a race have done to the coral reefs?
So there are lots of anthropogenic there are lots of human cause damages to the reef. One major one is climate change. So global climate change and the greenhouse gases that are in the atmosphere that can't escape. All of that gets into the ocean because the ocean absorbs the carbon. And if you don't, people who don't know about corals, they look like rocks, but they're not. They're actually living animals. They're a colony of polyps, and they create a skeleton. That's why it looks like a rock. They create like a colorful skeleton, but it's made of calcium carbonate. And as the ocean is becoming more acidic, it weakens that structure. So that, on top of people who live near the coast, with pollution, with constant dredging, those things affect the reef as well. So the dredging causes a lot of sedimentation. The reef has a symbiotic relationship with these really tiny algae called zooxanthellae. They're dinoflagellates. Sorry, I'm getting really nerdy, but
perfect. I love it.
The polyps have algae living within them. The algae needs the sunlight to produce food for the coral, so the coral can grow. I'm just dumbing it down. And when you have a lot of sedimentation, the light cannot penetrate the water to get to the algae so that they can produce food. So then you have corals dying off because of that. Also, because of climate change, you have the water, the oceans, the temperatures are heating up. Within the past century, they've heated up about 1 to 2 degrees Celsius, and it's too warm for the corals. And so what they do is they expel all of those algae that help them to grow. And when they expel those algae, they become white, and it's called coral bleaching. When you have a bleached coral, if it doesn't get the algae back inside of it, then it will die. So there's so many different factors caused by people that are affecting the reefs. So that's why I say it's on such a global scale. Climate change is something that it's already, I don't want to say we're past the point of being screwed, but we kind of are, just based on my studies. But, it's kind of a dire situation. And if you want to know, why do we even care about coral reefs? Well, they provide a lot of functions. They act as a nursery habitat for fishes. Like I said, they protect the coastline from storms. A lot of these waves and storms that would erode the coast, the reef decimates them. They take a little bit of that energy away. Also, they provide a lot of food for people. Lots of coastal communities rely on reefs as their source of protein. So there's just a lot of different functions that reefs have, and they're very important. Without them, pretty screwed. It would be like losing the entire rainforest in the Amazon. It would have that big of an effect. So
I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, sorry, I know it's like such a nerdy moment.
No, it's
I tried
perfect.
to really just kind of tone it down a little bit.
No, it's perfect, because then that way we can destroy that concept of fighters being dummies, because it's not true.
Definitely.
Most fighters I know are geniuses like you.
I wouldn't say genius. I'm still trying to get to that level. I just want to do my part. I want to get this degree to do my part, because fighting. I love fighting. It's a very selfish sport. Yeah, your team is involved to help you, but it is a selfish sport.
Yes.
It's all about you. So I want to do something also that I can give back and make a difference. So hopefully I can figure out what exactly I can do once I get this degree. Again, I'll discuss that with my mentor.
What drove you to marine biology?
You're gonna laugh. So when I was younger, I think I was in the 3rd grade. I'd never seen the ocean in my life. Despite moving around so much, I was in the 3rd grade, and my teacher showed a movie called Free Willy.
Yes, yes, that was my jam.
So I was like, when I saw the orca, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to work with orcas, I want to work with killer whales. And then I just became really fascinated with the ocean at that age. I remember we were living in Baltimore at the time, and they have the Baltimore Aquarium there. And as soon as you walk in, they have this huge skeleton hanging up of a blue whale, which is the largest animal in the world. Mm-hmm. And I just was like mesmerized by it. So it just fed my interest. And then when I just after I graduated high school, I went to Texas A&M. University, the one in Galveston, because they specialize in marine biology. And I just knew, I was like, I want to be a marine biologist. And I focused mostly, my field of study was marine mammals, because for some idiotic reason, I wanted to work at SeaWorld. I don't anymore. I've changed my mentality since big time. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with that industry at all. And then as I was going through the degree, I realized, I was like, why am I studying marine mammals? I was like, I don't want to work at SeaWorld. I don't want to do that. I was like, I like invertebrates. My favorite animal actually is a cuttlefish. They look like squid.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
I like cuttlefish. I really like octopus too. But I just became more interested in the whole ecology of ocean environments. So, but you know what? I did end up working in aquariums when I graduated. Not with dolphins or whales. I worked with sharks. I worked with penguins. Penguins are crazy. And I worked with other animals. I worked with seals and otters. But then I got out of that industry just because it wasn't for me. I don't know. It was kind of heartbreaking. It just wasn't for me. And that's when I decided I want to pursue a higher degree. And then when I moved to Puerto Rico, I got into fighting. And then I also got into school. And so that's how I'm here now. That's kind of where I'm at.
That's awesome. Do you wanna go a little deeper on why you didn't like the aquarium? What was heartbreaking about it, if you can?
Sure. For me, when I was a kid, I went to SeaWorld and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Mm-hmm. But as an adult, being able to comprehend what's really going on and how they have these massive orcas, which they're not whales, they're actually dolphins, the largest ones. Mm-hmm. Just in those small enclosures, they don't belong there. These are animals that they're different types. Some of them are residential, some of them are migratory, but they have free range of the ocean. And to confine them to such a small space and to make them do tricks for food and whatnot, I didn't agree with it. And I worked in an aquarium in Australia. I helped open the first Antarctic penguin exhibit there at the Melbourne Aquarium. Mm-hmm. And then I helped open the first Antarctic penguin exhibit in the Dubai Aquarium. And it was really at the Dubai Aquarium that I just was like, I don't want to be in this industry anymore. At that aquarium, I'm not trying to put it down, but we had the largest number of sharks in captivity at that time. Yeah. We had ragged tooth sharks, which you can't take from the wild anymore. And in my contract, it mentioned something about a breeding program and research with those sharks. But then when I was there, I worked there for like 3 years. We really didn't do any research. At that time, the aquarium was still new, so I don't know if they're doing anything now. But at that time, and I just wasn't happy. I just wasn't happy in that environment. Don't get me wrong. I like being around the animals. I like diving with them. I liked caring for them. We had some seals. They kind of outgrew their enclosure, and we sent them to a larger facility in Turkey, which I thought was okay. That's better for them. But I don't know. I just felt like I wasn't making a difference. Maybe for those animals, making it a comfortable experience for them, because a lot of them, they were like the penguins. They're born in captivity. They don't know any different. They don't know another lifestyle. So they're used to when we come in, it's time to eat. They're used to a program, but I don't agree with that industry. I don't know. Animals aren't meant to be kept captive, in my opinion. they play their role out in the ecosystem, and they need to be out there doing that.
Agreed. I'm one of those that whenever an orca attacks somebody, I secretly cheered.
And that's another thing. Like I watched that movie Blackfish, and it talked about how sometimes the trainers would get attacked by the orcas, and maybe it wasn't provoked, but you don't know. Those animals are very intelligent. You don't know what they're thinking and how they're feeling. So one day you're walking by the pool and they snatch you in. That's why I was like, yeah, no, I can't be a part of this industry anymore. I don't even go to aquariums. I don't even support that anymore.
Wow.
Unless it's a place, a rehabilitation place, because when I was in Galveston, I was a part of the Marine Mammal Stranding Network, and we would go out if we got a phone call, oh, there's a dolphin that's been stranded or a stranded manatee, we would go out, and if it was already dead, we would just do the necropsy there, but if it was still alive, we would take it back to the facility to rehabilitate it to later release it. Those programs, those places I don't have a problem with. But the ones who just want to make a profit on exploiting the animal, I don't agree with those.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's because it becomes a business. For sure, little kids want to see animals, and you don't want to step into, I don't know, you don't want to step into the jungle with a tiger. You don't want to step,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can see it from that perspective as well, for an educational perspective.
Yeah.
That's why I don't... If they're already in captivity and they're bred that way, then okay. But to take something from the wild and to captivate it, that's I don't really agree with that.
No, I do remember the intro to the Blackfish documentary, and the narrator tried to explain the way that orcas communicate, and he just really couldn't clearly, because it's such a sophisticated way. And the way they communicate with each other, and how different groups of orcas communicate within themselves and within their community, is something that we really don't clearly understand, because we want to relate it to ourselves. I'm talking to you, but it's not the same.
Yeah,
it's a whole different thing. It's almost like aliens.
Yeah, well, they're adapted to live in that environment, so gotta have their own way. There's so much noise in the ocean. They have to have their own way of communicating with each other. So they're very interesting animals.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. They killer whales. It's not the cutest name, but but they are for sure very very smart.
Yeah.
Just to touch on before we leave, how much longer do you think you'll be fighting?
Me? As long as I can, at least. You know what? I think I at least have a good 5 years left in me. And I think so. And that's just because I started much later, so I don't have all that damage to my body. Like, I'm still fairly healthy. Yeah, I've had 2 knee surgeries, but the knee's fixed. So I think I at least have 5 more years in me.
Good.
Yeah, right. Ojalá.
Your Spanish is very good.
No.
No?
You know what? My classes are all in Spanish, most of them, like 90%. So I have to really have an understanding and be able. And I'll be honest, some teachers, I'll just look at them like, what is he saying? Than other teachers, because Puerto Rican Spanish is a little different than everybody else's Spanish.
True.
So sometimes I'm still not 100% fluent. If I don't have to speak Spanish, I don't. But when places like, we just had Pan Am's in Argentina, and I had to speak Spanish there because they don't speak any English, and they speak a different type of Spanish. And the Spanish that I've learned is Puerto Rican Spanish, just from living here and speaking with people. Like, I've never taken a course where you get a book and you learn how to write. I've only learned it conversationally. So
yeah, you're learning the best Spanish. Don't worry about that.
That's what I heard.
yeah, we use a lot of slang though. I think that's the problem. That's why sometimes other people can't really get it. Because we speak a lot of slang. Yeah.
There's a lot of slang, and then there's a lot of like you cut the words. Like sometimes the words aren't fully pronounced.
True.
And that catches me off guard sometimes, especially when the verb is conjugated and it's not conjugated the way that I'm used to hearing it, or I don't want to say the proper way, because it's not like Puerto Rican Spanish isn't proper Spanish. It is, but you just have your own way of saying things. So, and it's funny because, man, when I first moved to Puerto Rico, people would just, and I knew zero Spanish, and that was just because they assumed that I was Puerto Rican just because I'm mixed, and
I can see that
here they're mixed.
Yeah.
And I just be like, I don't understand, and I found it a little frustrating when I first moved here, because you would think, oh, it's a U.S. territory, most people speak English here, but it's not the case. Nope. Even when you go to a restaurant, the menu is in Spanish. Mm-hmm. And I just remember I had the hardest time. I was like, I want that. Whatever's on that table, I want that. Like, I don't know what this says. What really helped me when I first moved here, I got a job working in a restaurant. So food was the first thing I learned in Spanish. How to order food, what different things are called, and then all the bad words. Because, the kitchen staff, that's all you're going to hear all day are bad words.
Exactly.
So little by little, when I realized, okay, I'm going to stay in Puerto Rico, I should really try to learn the language, then I started to learn a little bit more.
Yeah, it is a little hard to get it, because the way we're really quick with our words. And,
yes.
Yeah, and for sure, if I ever saw you and I did not hear you speak English, I would definitely speak Spanish to you. You look super Puerto Rican.
A funny story. I was when I first moved here. I was walking to the gym because I took the bus everywhere, right. And I took the bus to the bus stop, and I was walking to the gym, and it was kind of in a sketchy neighborhood. And this guy drives by me, and he goes, "Hey, Morena!" And I was just like, did he just call me a moron? So I got to the gym, and I asked one of my teammates. I was like, this guy just called me a moron as I'm walking down the street. And he was like, no, that's not what he said. He's calling you that because of your skin. And he's like, it's a good thing. And I was like, oh, okay. That's another thing. People, it's not, there's no offense taken when people call you by the color of your skin. Like, hey, negra. There's no offense taken. Like, nope. You do that in the States, and it's like, what you call me?
Yeah, you were throwing hands over here.
Exactly. So that, I really do like the culture here. I do. So there's very different, they're very in tune with their African culture as well.
Yes.
In certain places.
Yes.
And one of my favorite things about Puerto Rico, I love bomba. Like, really? I love going to watch it. I love it. I haven't actually yet, but salsa I've done, but bomba I'm still a little too, I'm a little too
shy,
self-conscious about that.
Yeah, bomba and plena are very, not a lot of people, especially not the younger generation, doesn't really know. It's really, for the people listening, it's really dances and music that came from our African heritage, because Puerto Rico was en route of the African slave trade, and with the African slaves and the Spaniards and the natives that we had in the island, everybody mixed together, and you get Puerto Ricans. That's the recipe, pretty much. It is, yeah. Bomba is very interesting, and it's not something that a lot of people practice, at least not the young up and coming guys, But it's still alive in some regions of
yeah, it seems to be very specific, like especially like in Piñones.
Yes.
Like, yeah, it's very big. I love watching them dance over there.
Yeah, you need to stay out of Piñones, because there's no healthy food in Piñones. Zero healthy food. It's all trans fat.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't mess with that stuff. If I do, I'll eat pinchos. I don't feel so bad about eating pinchos, but I don't mess with the frituras too much.
Yeah. Oh, they're good though. They're good. Trust me.
They are. They're okay for like a beach day every now and then. So.
Yeah. Just do once a year or something. I don't know. Just take it easy.
And guavate as well. Like, I remember my family came to Puerto Rico to visit for Christmas, and I was like, okay, I got to take them to Guavate to get some lechon and all that stuff up there, and they loved it, especially my dad. Like, He loved it. My mom, she's kind of picky with food, but she didn't say a word. She was just eating.
Good. And it's beautiful because most of those little restaurants in Guadalajara, they look like they're about to fall over, but they have the greatest food. They're so good. It's like they have an old 90-year-old grandma cooking that just cooks with dedication and love.
Yeah, you know what? I almost got stuck in a landslide in Guadalajara. It was a couple days after the hurricane, and my friend and I, we were trying to go to Las Selvas, and we go through the way like you're going through Guadalajara up that mountain, and because we knew some people that were up there and they were trapped because nobody heard from them. You know, after the hurricane, there was no communication.
Right.
And it had been, I think, 3 days. I'm sorry, it had been 3 days, and it was like, we know that they're trapped and nobody knows they're there, so let's go try to see if we can rescue them.
Right.
So we had the machetes in the back of the car, and we went, and there was still a lot of heavy rainfall, and we got to the part, like at the very top of that road, and we just couldn't continue because there were so many trees and power lines along the road, and you could tell nobody had even been past that point, and it was another, I don't know how many miles to get to where they were. So I was like, okay, well, let's go back and try to find another way around the mountain. And as we were going down, it started pouring, and you could just see all the mud like coming underneath the car, like underneath the car from behind us, from up the hill, as we're going down. And I was just like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get stuck in a landslide. We're gonna die. We're still gonna die. I was like, why did we come try to save them? We should have just told the police. But you know, the police. We did go to the police station eventually, and they didn't stage a rescue either. They were just like, yeah, we'll keep a lookout.
Yeah.
Everything was so messed up. After 3 days after the hurricane, everything
chaos.
It was just third world living. Like there's just nothing.
Yeah, it was very bad. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of PTSD. I'm about to cry.
I know. You know what? It took me a while. Like when people would bring it up because it was very traumatic.
True.
Super traumatic. You know, we know some people who passed away, you know, shortly after the hurricane. And yeah, a lot of people don't realize how devastating it was unless they were here because the news didn't cover it. I remember when I got off the island 3 weeks after the hurricane, I had to take that boat that leaves from San Juan to the Dominican Republic. It's like a 13 and a half hour ride.
Yeah, ferry.
And I got to the DR, and I took a plane from there to Texas. And I remember when I was at home, I was seeing I was turning on the channels to see if there was anything on the news about Puerto Rico, and there was nothing. I was like, wow, so everybody thinks it's just okay over there? There's still no power, no water. Things were really bad. I live in La Perla, and it was just, oh man, it was horrible down here. It was really bad. So unless you went through it like you and I did, like people, I don't think they can really understand just how bad it was.
Yeah, it was very tough. I moved almost a month after the hurricane. I had to move because I have a wife and kids, so I lost my job in a hotel that I worked at, which was oceanfront in Condado in San Juan. So that hotel got destroyed, and I wasn't gonna have a job for a long time. So that's why I moved over here. Everything's fine. You know, you miss it for sure because it's your island is your island forever. But you know, you do your thing over here, and then eventually I plan on coming back with the family. It's awesome that you're there, though.
Yeah, I stuck it out. You know, I stuck it out. I don't have a family like you do, so it's a little bit easier for me to stay here. And again, you know, things, you know what, the hurricane, it was horrible, but at the same time, it did open up better opportunities for me. And one of those being a new gym, a new coach, a new gym. Yes. I'm much happier because I'll be honest with you, after that fight with Jarena, I really kind of lost my passion for just the way things were going with the gym I was training at. I just wasn't happy. I didn't say anything, but I just wasn't happy. And then, you know, after the hurricane, I just felt free. I can train with wherever I want. I can train with whoever I want. Even people on the island that I didn't know about that were training Muay Thai, like Juan Delgado, Paul Rossi, all these different people. I didn't know anything about them, so I kind of been kept from them. And now I've met so many people on the island who have a genuine interest in Muay Thai and who are so supportive of me, and I really appreciate that. And even after the hurricane happened, like I was just working on my master's, and I was like, what am I gonna do? The school is closed. I don't know if it's gonna open again. And then my mentor came to me and was like, hey, I don't have funding for you to continue your master's. Like, I don't have funding for that research, but I do have a 2-year grant from the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. But it's a grant, but it's only for a PhD student. He was like, and it's fully paid. It pays you. It pays your education, your health insurance, everything. And he was like, do you want to just upgrade from? Do you just want to switch from master's to PhD? And at that time, I was like, you know what? This hurricane was bad. I don't know what's going on with my life. It just completely got reset. But yeah, let's do it. So I feel like, it was a bad situation, but I was able to make better out of it through the opportunities that I got. And I feel happier. I'll be honest. It's very different living here post Hurricane Maria. Even it's what's going on 2 years now, a year and a half now after the hurricane's going on. It's still very different to live here than it was before the hurricane. And sometimes it can be a little depressing, but you know what? Overall, I'm much happier just with the opportunities I've received and where I'm at now. And just within that year of the hurricane, I've met so many cool people and so many supportive people. And I got to be a part of the national team for the U.S. And just be happy. So I'm happier.
Perfect. That's all that matters.
Really.
Yeah. I know we went a little over, so just give the people your social media addresses and your Instagram and your Facebook and all that, so they can follow you.
Oh yeah, sure. So my nickname is Riptide. Has to do with the ocean. I can explain what that means if you guys want to know. But my Instagram and my Facebook, you can find me on @Angela Riptide. That's AngelaRiptide.
Perfect.
All one word, no
Angela
spaces.
Riptide. Facebook and Instagram, correct?
Yes, it's the same for both.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much. I am very thankful that you came on, and you are awesome. You are a beast. You are incredible. Keep doing what you're doing. And as a Puerto Rican, it makes me feel very good that you can study anywhere in the world if you want, but you chose the University of Puerto Rico and not a private one. You chose UPR.
I chose UPR and all of its problems, but you know what? We're gonna get through it.
Yes. It's a beautiful dysfunctional family.
It is. That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah. I think after that, when you graduate from the UPR, you are officially an honorary Puerto Rican.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, and I really look forward to having you on again. All right.
Thank you. My pleasure. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Angela Riptide Whitley. I really, really thank her for being on. She's amazing, isn't she? Like, I felt like my IQ got raised by like 20 points after I was done talking to her. Her smarts are contagious. I wish her nothing but the best. I know she will finish her school semester. This is her last semester, and then she'll take those boring theses and smash them to pieces. Oh, I'm rhyming. I'm an MC now. Gotta talk to Houston Alexander again. Maybe he can hook me up with an MC crew on the cypher. Anyways, Angela Whitley is awesome. Please follow her for sure. She's always posting videos of training and her kicking people and elbowing people and just punishing people. So it's always fun to follow her. And follow me at Angels Combat on Twitter, at Angels Combat, and on Facebook at Angels Combat 21. And also go to infinitudefight.com/customize. Customize all that awesome gear that you want and never buy any other gear ever. Use our code word $5 Angels Fans, $5 Angels Fans to get $5 off your awesome order from Infinitude Fight. That's it. we're done. Till the next episode. This was Angel, and this was Angel's Combat World.